I am your host, Hannah Chijioke-Davis from the Agora Wellness Center, and I am your host today, and I'm one of the coaches from the It's Your Story to Tell Coach Collective. Today, I'm so excited to have our guest on, Keri Kondracki. She is a dear friend of mine, and we've been friends for I think about going on 7 years now. We met through
Yes.
my sister's church actually some years ago. You were helping host and put on and speaking at a women's conference, and that's where I met you. And we kind of had a quick connection, and it's grown ever since then. I've been just very honored and delighted to work alongside you and be your friend throughout these years. So I'm so excited Keri's here to share with us a powerful story that I think a lot of us can really relate to and resonate with. So, Keri, thank you again for coming to share your story today with us. So, Keri, I'm going to let you kind of share your background. Today is actually we're going to do this podcast in 2 parts today. So today, the beginning part of it, I want you to kind of share a little bit about your background and what you were doing, and then kind of your story of how God called you to another whole work that he had for you. So I'm going to let you do that. And yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let you get started on that. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, thank you so much for this opportunity. Thank you for your love and your support over the years. And I have always had a heart and passion to serve the Lord through serving his children. Um, I was fortunate to grow up in a very healthy home environment. And I was surrounded by a lot of like-minded people, church, and just believed that everybody in the world lived the same way that I knew. And the Lord took me to India really in 1999, and I saw poverty in India and brokenness um, that I fathom. Um, it really rocked my world. It broke my heart, and it opened my eyes to the fact that this world is in great need. And so, really, in 1999, I felt the Lord was beginning to work on my heart and bringing opportunities to me to meet the need in front of me. And so I continued to do short term missions trips every chance that I was given. And every time the Lord took me somewhere, my heart became even more passionate. And I had an even greater burden to help those in need and to give and to go and to tell his story to those that he brought into my path. So I began doing short term trips quite regularly. I was a Christian school teacher for 16 years. Never had any money to really go anywhere, but the Lord always brought me the funds when I needed it and always brought me opportunities to go and to serve him in the most poverty stricken areas across the globe. Um, I've been all over the world. He has provided for each and every need, and he has brought me wonderful prayer partners and financial partners the entire time to help me and to enable me to do his work. In 2010, I was in Iceland. I had been invited to go to Iceland to minister to women. And until 2010, my focus was on teaching children and ministering to children. And being a school teacher for 16 years, I already had the heart and the skill set to teach and to train and to mentor. But I had never really focused on women until 2000. The Lord took me to Reykjavik, Iceland. I was there for a month. I partnered with a local church and a pastor on the ground in Reykjavik, and I ministered to about 27 broken women and women who had experienced divorce, neglect, abuse, both physically and emotionally. Um, I had ministered to women who were struggling with confidence and insecurity, as many of us do. And I just fell in love with this focus, this ministry opportunity that the Lord just dropped right into my lap with that invitation to go to Iceland. And it was while I was in Reykjavik in 2010 that I felt and heard the call to get out of my comfortable boat in America, teaching in the Christian school, in the safe classroom, doing something that I knew very well and something that I loved. But I heard the call to get out of my comfort zone and to allow the Lord to stretch me and open doors, new doors of opportunity to serve. And so it was in Reykjavik that I felt and heard the call. It was definitely the focus shifting from teaching children to teaching women, and particularly broken women who were in great need of love and encouragement and someone that would pour into them. Um, so I flew home from Iceland, and I battled for the next 3 years, battled to get out of those because I wanted to hold on to it.
It was your
And
comfort zone, right? And I
yeah,
think a lot of us can resonate with that. Being called into something new can be scary, right? Um, like you said, you were comfortable. You knew what you did. Like you were teaching for what, 16 years, right? I think, yeah, yeah. So you were good at what you did and all these things. So I think to come into something new can be disconcerting.
yes,
All right. So for 3 years, you had to battle with that. Okay.
yes,
But you
yes.
heard that call clearly.
I did, and like most of us, we feel led to do something, but we would like to see how it's going to work. We would like to have more details. I'm a detail person. I am a natural born planner. I'm a teacher. I use an itinerary every day. I used an agenda. I have a to-do list. I like to
Yes.
check off things as I get them done. I want to see the plan. And I hear the Lord's voice. I know it very well. I knew the Lord was saying, let go, get out of your boat, trust me, put your faith in me. And I kept saying, I'd like to see it. Can I see it?
Can I ask you a quick question about that? Because you said you know his voice and you heard
I
him
do.
very clearly. What were some of the ways? I think that's a question that comes up with a lot of people that I talk with and whatnot. It's like, how do you know God's
Yes.
voice and how do you hear that? What are some of the ways that you cultivate that in your life?
Yes. Well, I'll tell you, everybody has an opinion. Everybody has their idea of what you should be doing and how you should be doing. And when I was struggling, that the Lord was calling me to give up my career, give up my teaching position after 16 years of investing in it. And you know, I heard him saying, step out of the classroom, let go of your job, trust me. And I kept sharing that with people who were naturally and genuinely concerned for my well being. Just purchased my first home, and now I'm getting ready to give up my job, which is my income. After I just moved into my house, the first one I've ever owned, and the Lord is like, let it go, let it go. And everyone around me is, are you crazy? Are you crazy? You can't give up your job. I had just earned my master's degree in educational administration. And as soon as I graduated with that degree, I felt called to give it up and step away from teaching forever, if that was the will. I remember hearing everybody's voice, everybody's words coming at me, pastors, family, my brothers, um, friends, my mother.
Yeah, people who loved you, people who were well-meaning, right? Yeah,
And
absolutely.
just want to see the best for me. I remember
Exactly.
everybody's voice, but it was the one voice that truly counts that I need to listen to and obey. And that was the Lord's voice. So everybody else is just noise, everybody else is just distraction. And it's not their journey, it's my journey. And they don't know what is ahead for me, but the Lord knows what lies ahead for me. And so I got in the Bible and I read the Bible and I studied his word. And then anytime I had down, whether it was in the car and I was alone by myself, or at night when I went to bed and laid my head on that pillow, that's when I really heard him, because I was still. I was still and I was by myself. And it was just him and me. And the whole time I kept thinking, Lord, it's you and me. It's you and me. Because this journey is no one else's journey but mine. And so I need to hear his voice. And that is the voice I heard the loudest. That is the voice that I heard above all the other voices. And that's the voice that I obeyed.
So 3 years you were going through this and really seeking the Lord and like really making sure that you're hearing his voice so clearly, right? Because it's a big life change to do. And I understand, like you said, your family was very well meaning and whatnot. So it wasn't that they were wrong in what they were doing, but you're right, they didn't, that wasn't their journey and they weren't having that conversation with the Lord, that you were having with him, because like you said, that was your journey. But again, yeah, I think, you still want to do things with wise counsel and making sure that you are clearly hearing the Lord's voice, right? Um, and so 3 years of doing that, and that's, I love to hear that story because I can resonate with that. I have been called out of the boat a couple different times in my life, and yeah, I definitely went through a period of struggle with that because it maybe doesn't make sense to most of the people around you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But that
Yeah.
this is what God is calling you to.
Yes.
And there's a peace in that, even the turmoil, like you said, you don't know the details of what's coming up next. And I think, there are some of us who are more type A or who like to plan our things out, right?
Yeah.
And that's a really uncomfortable spot to be.
Yeah.
But there's that peace when you are hearing that voice that you know so well, right? Um, Amidst all the chaos, there's like that stillness, that peace. And I think that is such a powerful thing.
That's right. And there's freedom that comes when you do obey the call. I struggled for the 3 years that I battled, and the moment that I completely did it and got out of my boat and let go of my job and resigned from teaching, I had freedom immediately upon doing that.
Wow. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So you resigned from your job.
I
Did you have anything else at that time that you were stepping into, or was that just a
no,
jump?
nothing. It was a leap of faith. And I remember the night before I resigned, and this had happened quite a few times. I would be in bed, just tossing and turning and battling with the Lord in conversation out loud, saying, Lord, please give me something. Let me see something. Let me see where I'm going. Let me see who will be my partner. Can I just have a peace? I just want a peace that I can see, because I see nothing. I see no land in getting out of this boat. I see dark waters, no land in sight, nothing. And I remember the Lord saying, no, I will give you nothing. You need to get out and you need to trust me, and then I will bring it to you. And he said, if you need to see it, then you don't have the faith that you tell everybody else that they need. So you need to show the faith that you say you have, and you need to get out without seeing it. Get out of the boat, and then I will bring it to you. And I did.
All right. So kind of take us through that. How did that look in the beginning? Once you got out of the boat, what was kind of the next steps for you?
So the next morning, I went into work, the Christian school that I had taught for the last 9 years of my 16 years of teaching. And I absolutely loved my position. I loved my school. I loved the kids. I loved the parents. I loved the coworkers. And I went in and I went into the principal's office and I said to the principal, Gwen, we need to have a meeting today. And she knew, everybody in the school knew, all the kids knew that I had been struggling to get out of the boat for years. They knew my heart and passion was for missions. They knew I felt like a caged animal being in the classroom within those walls when I knew the Lord was calling me to go out and beyond the walls. And so I did feel like a caged animal during that time. And so Gwen, my principal, said, okay, she realized what was happening. And so we went for a walk and left the building instead of having the meeting in her office, like all meetings happen in her office. She took me outside and we walked for probably 30 minutes. And in that time, I told her, I'm getting out of the boat. And I told her that the Lord had called me to step out in faith and I was doing it. And she said, I'm happy for you, but where are you going? And what are you going to do? And who is your partner? Who's going to help you? You just bought a house. Who's your new organization? And I said, I have no idea. I have none of that, Gwen. I don't have the partner. I don't even have the area in which I'm going. I don't know where I'm going. I have no help, no partnership. Um, I don't even really have the backing of my church right now because they were going through their own transition. And I said, I have nothing. The only thing I absolutely know is my Lord said, get out, and I'm getting. And that was my answer. So we cried, we hugged. She wished me well. She probably thought it's not going to work. At that point, I'm just like, I have no idea how it will work, but I trust my Lord. I had nothing, absolutely nothing. Just
Wow.
get out of the boat. And I,
Walking by faith.
yes,
Yeah.
did.
All right. So we just have a.
I had moments of panic after that, but
So we have a few more minutes here before we wrap up today's session, but I just wanted to know. So once you resigned from your job, what did that look like? What was your time frame before you got the next step that God had for you?
so moments of panic, like I just mentioned, within 2 weeks, I had 2 weeks that I had nothing. Nothing was clear to me. Um, and I was becoming very discouraged and somewhat scared because I had bought a home and I resigned. And 2 weeks later, I'm sitting in my classroom at this school. My sixth graders were at gym, and so my classroom was quiet. And I was in a daze, kind of a trance, because I realized, I think it hit me, I just gave up my job. I just walked away from something that I loved and something that I knew. and I have nowhere to go. I don't know what the next step is. I had my phone on the desk, my desk, and I don't keep my phone out during work hours, during school hours. But my kids were at gym, and the clock on my wall was broken. So I took my phone and put it on my desk because it was my clock, and the phone rang. And I looked at my phone and saw a 417 zip code, or not zip code, area code. And I knew that was Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, because I had gone to school there, and my younger brother lived and was going to school there at the time. So when that number popped up, I answered the phone thinking it was someone I knew, but I didn't know who it was. It was just a 417 number. And I would never answer my phone while I was at school, but I did that morning. And it was Jerry Abbott, the director for Mana Worldwide in Europe. And Jerry said to me, Keri Kondracki, my name is Jerry Abbott. I work with Mana Worldwide. I'm the director for ministries in Europe. And I heard that you have a heart and a passion for women and children, and you have a desire to go to Europe. I'm just wondering, would you be interested in helping me? And as soon as I heard that, I knew the Lord brought me the partnership. I knew as soon as I heard his voice, what he did, what he was looking for, how he had prayed. And then years later, Jerry and I had a conversation, and the same time frame that I began praying for a partnership in 2010, Jerry began praying for a partner to help him reach women and children in Europe.
Wow. So God had you guys on very different spaces and timelines, didn't even know each other, praying for the same thing.
Yes, there
Wow.
you go.
That's powerful.
And I
Wow.
knew, I heard, I knew the Lord answered my prayers.
That was your next step.
And he brought
Wow.
began bringing the details, wanted me to get out before he gave me the detail.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. Okay. So actually, I think that's a great spot to hold because that was incredible. A little bit of a cliffhanger because the next steps here, but like, wow, what a powerful answer. And to see how God was weaving your story the whole time. And you were able to walk in obedience and trust of him and like
Yeah.
see how God had been planning things out and setting things up for you.
Yes.
That whole time you were struggling and praying things through.
It's true.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
All right, guys. So we're going to pause here and invite you guys to come back for part 2 of this amazing podcast where Keri's going to share with us next steps in what God has called her to do and where she is at now, because God continues to work and do amazing things, and what he has called her into and the ministry that she is working in right now. So thank you guys for joining us today. Come back and join us next time.